My name is Elizabeth Thorner. People call me Lizzie. I was born and raised in the George Inn in Bothamhampton. My parents were Jane and George Trivet, and I lived with my sister and my baby brother. The pub was in the centre of the village and it was a place full of laughter. That's what I remember. Then sadly, my baby brother died. And just after, my sister Susan was born, but then at the age of only 26, my father died and we had to move out of the pub. We moved to a tiny cottage in the village where my mother took in laundry and elderly lodgers to help make ends meet. She was also a maternity nurse. The memory of losing her little one made her determined to help others keep their babies. I often had to help out with my sisters, but we got along and life wasn't too bad. All us girls wanted was somewhere to live, plenty to eat, and a good man to look after us. At the age of 22, I met my William Thorner, a butcher. We were wed in Bothamhampton Church in 1873. We moved to Burton Bradstock, but after a couple of years, we moved on to a little hamlet near Shepton Mallet. We had 14 children and we bought a small farm, so life wasn't too bad. We made ends meet. Our children helped us on the farm. But my William was a worrier. He worried about getting the crops in when the weather was bad. He worried about the animals being sick. And he did have quite a lot of rheumatism. On the morning, in the early hours of the morning on his 55th birthday, my William went out to our slaughterhouse, took a rope, put it over the beam and hung himself. Our eldest son found him just before breakfast. The rope had stretched so his knees were dragging on the ground. And when they cut him down, he was still warm, but he was quite dead. I've never really forgiven him for leaving us like that. But the memory of our little ones, we had lost 4 children, by the way. 4 children had died just after their first birthdays. And it preyed on his mind. That and the fact that he'd had to cut our neighbour down who'd hung himself in his barn. Anyway, I've been widowed now for 31 years. Our old queen was widowed for 40. And my mother was widowed for 55 years before she died in 1910. I'm looking forward to heaven now and to seeing my William again. He was a good man, hardworking and a teetotaler. So I'm looking forward to seeing him and my dead babies.